When I first started speaking and writing, I was 19 years old. I look back on those times now, and I was just so naive. I'd grown up in sort of a bubble. Didn't really have that much of an idea about what was going on out in the world. And then I would start to travel, and I was traveling and speaking and writing and meeting a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds in a lot of different countries. And what you realize very quickly, I think, is that life is messy. You know, life is messy. And that it's sort of one of the great themes of this 25 years of speaking and writing for me, is the idea that life really is messy. And I can have these very clear and logical ideas in the solitude of my writing place, but real people in real places have to live them in real ways in the midst of what is very often a very, very messy world. And it impacts me in a few ways. One is the desire to want to share ideas in simpler ways, ideas that are, immensely practical, that are just really helpful to people's lives. And to do the work and to make the effort to make those ideas as simple, as poignant as possible so they can really resonate in the reader's life. But the other response is, it's just prayer. It's just, you meet people, they share with you some of their deepest secrets, some of their biggest struggles, and the only response to that has got to be prayer, I think. At Dynamic Catholic, we invite the ambassadors each month to submit prayers. And I get a report at the end of each week with all the prayers on them. And it's amazing. You know, it's astounding. It is. It is just, I can't even put in words what it feels like to sit in the chapel and read through those prayer requests. I cannot get through a set of those prayer requests without tears. It's just not possible. You couldn't be human. And I think the lesson is that everyone's struggling with something. I love reading biographies and autobiographies. I just find looking at a person's whole life is really powerful. I think very often our temptation is to look at one part of our life or one part of somebody else's life. And when you can step back and look at a whole person's and their whole life, I think it gives a phenomenal perspective. But I was reading Bob Dylan's a few years ago, and he was talking about his grandmother and how she used to give him sort of wisdom and perspective, and I think had this sage type role in Dylan's life. And one of the things he talks about that he said to her after he started traveling and touring, she said to him, be kind to everybody, because everybody you'll ever meet is fighting a hard battle. And it's true. Everyone is struggling with something, and we send out the Christmas cards, right? And everything looks great in the Christmas card. But behind every Christmas card, there's 100 stories, and every person in the Christmas card is struggling with something. Everyone's struggling with something. I remember when I first got cancer, I remember walking out of the doctor's office after he told me I had cancer, and my head was just spinning. And my realization was nothing else in the world has changed. Everyone is just going around their business, going about doing their thing. And nobody knows what you're struggling with, and nobody knows what I'm struggling with. We're all struggling with something. And I think it's important that we realize that everyone's carrying a heavy burden. It's important that we realize everyone's struggling with something. It's important that we realize that everyone is fighting a hard battle. Because when we do realize that, we treat people differently. We treat people differently. So be gentle with yourself, because you've got your own struggle, and be gentle with other people, because everybody is fighting a hard battle, because life is messy.